Hey, Motorman here. It's early in the morning. I'm posting the video really early. Usually I post videos on Tuesdays and Saturdays. I did post one this past Saturday. And today I'm getting up early as I usually do. I'm up like at 5 o'clock in the morning. And the first thing I do this time of year when I know that there's going to be a release from Harley Davidson's is I scan the internet and see if I can find any kind of spy photos. So if you don't want to be spoiled, if you've been pacing the floors, just waiting till 10 a.m. tomorrow to see the new Harley Davidsons, stop watching this now because I'm going to spoil it for you. At least one model I know for sure they're going to show tomorrow is going to be the Low Rider S with the 117 motor, and I'm betting they're also going to show you the new Low Rider S Touring model. I happened to run across this photo. It's very similar to the photo I showed you, I think it was last week sometime. It's a good looking bike. Whether it's going to be a big seller for Harley Davidson, I really can't say, but I'm going to show you the photo. I'm going to tell you some things that I noticed in the photo. And I said this before, they've tried this over the years to have smaller bagger models that have really never been successful as far as sales goes. They make them for a year or two and then they just disappear. The new FXLRST may be different. And that's probably because it's like a West Coast style to have the handlebars up in the air and sitting like in a clamshell style with a fairing. That's from that TV show. It was on for, I don't know, 5 years, probably a year or two too long, Sons of Anarchy. I watched it, but the last year got ridiculous. They were cutting the guy's head off and switching it and sewing it on another bike. It got stupid, as many shows do after about 3 seasons. But anyway, we're going to take a look at this. So this time, maybe they were ahead of the game before, or ahead of time before, and it just wasn't the right time to announce a smaller bagger or a lighter weight bagger. Maybe now is the time, but I guess they're going to give it a try. So let's take a look at what they got.
And here it is. Now this color looks kind of bright. I'm hoping that it's actually be closer to the gunship gray that they came out with on the touring models. This looks more like the silver that they had in 2020, and they had black and silver then on the lowrider. And these were the silver ones that nobody wanted for whatever reason. It looked okay to me, but not as nice as the black. But let's take a look at, besides color, what we have here. That fairing looks very similar to the old FXRP fairing. And I can't tell from this photo if it's frame mounted or fork mounted, but it's kind of looks good to me. It's a little big, I think, for this size motorcycle. These are, of course, just my opinions on this. And I also see that it appears the bars are the same and the same height as they are on the Low Rider S. That means, and also the seat is the same. So you're going to have basically the same riding position as you have on the standard Low Rider S that you've had the past couple of years. Some people like that riding position with the mid controls. But to me, you're sitting like sort of in a clamshell shape. And it's not the best for, well, touring for any length of time, at least for me. In fact, on my Low Rider S, I put forward controls on it because my legs and hips were just uncomfortable with those mids, and it just much more comfortable and a better riding position. Even though I'm 5'7", normally I don't recommend forward controls for most people unless you're 5'10" or over, but the way this frame is on this bike, the forward controls seem to be much more comfortable, at least for somebody my size at 5'7", even though I identify as 6'2". I like it better that way with my feet a little bit further forward. Also, the stock seat kind of sits you kind of further back. So on my bike, I put the reach seat, which puts me, I don't know, 1.5 inches or so closer to the bars. And I also put pullback risers on it because I want to get in a position closer to the touring motorcycles so that at low speeds, if you're sitting upright and the bars are close to you, you have a lot more leverage. So a lot of people ask me why I say the Low Rider S is more difficult to handle at low speeds. It's just because of the riding position. The closer the bars are to your chest, the more leverage you got. Also, we notice on this bike, if you look very closely, and I know this is not a great picture, this is a spy shot. That's why they call them spy shots. It's not perfect, but it's got the 117 motor. It's got the high performance airflow, and it looks like, yeah, for sure, the bars are going to be, for somebody my size and for a lot of people, up kind of high, at least if they keep the same riding position as the Low Rider S 117 that they're about to come out with. Probably the rear suspension is up 1 inch over the 2021 Low Rider S, and that's to give you a bit more ground clearance. The ground clearance on the Low Rider S, the 2021 models, was you got 30-degree lean angle, which is plenty, but you jack it up an inch and you might have 31 or 32-degree lean angle. And the better the lean angle, the tighter the turn you're going to make, and the less you have to worry about the pegs or the board scraping the ground. The hard bags, of course, are from last year's Sport Glide. Those are the exact same bags, and if you remember last year, they gave you a choice. You could have the flat black or the body-colored bags. I think the body-colored bags look better. Overall, is this going to be a great touring bike, better than, say, a Road King or a Street Glide? If you like this riding position and this style, it could be better for you. Also, you can notice that there are no gauges on the tank. They've moved them up to the handlebars. Exactly what they're going to be, or if they're going to be digital or analog, I really couldn't say yet. Probably, I'm guessing it's going to be digital. Moving the gauges up to the bar, of course, works a lot better. Really, the styling thing is with the tack and the speedometer mounted on the tank, but actually you can't see it. You got to tilt your head down, so I think that's a good thing. I wish they would have put a touring seat on it, and they may, because the stock seat is not worth bragging about, let's put it that way. Now, this bike is meant to appeal to a younger group, probably the millenniums. I don't think it's going to appeal to brand new riders. And will it sell? It just might. Maybe the time is right. They've tried this in the past. As I said, I'm going to show you some pictures of some of the other bikes that were similar they've tried over the years that did not sell very well. But this may be different. This is the Sport Glide based on the Dyna models. It had bags and a small fairing. The bags extended. They were, I guess, leather bags, but you could pull them out, so they had plenty of storage room. But again, they made it for 2, maybe 3 years. Was not a big seller. People tended to strip the bags and the fairing off of the bike. And here's the old FXRP. Really, the police version of this bike was kind of ugly. The bags, those square bags, utilitarian look. Yeah, it didn't fit the bike very well. Customers didn't like them. Now the fairing, as you see, very similar to what they're giving you now on the new Low Rider S touring model. So we'll see how that works out for them. As you can see, this 2022 model looks a hell of a lot better than either the FXRP or the Sport Glide. This is 2022. Everything has come pretty far forward. The thing is, what's the price going to be? Will people go for this motorcycle over the touring bikes? It's possible. A younger group of riders may. It's probably going to be about 100 pounds less than a Street Glide or E-Glide standard. And of course, there is going to be an audio system available. You can see at the top left of the screen there, it says FXLRST audio. So I don't know if the audio system will be standard or an option, but that is something that a lot of people like to have some music when they're riding. So that's what I got so far, folks. We'll find out tomorrow at 10 a.m. That's when Harley goes live with their release, and I'll probably go to the dealership and check it out.